Hey guys, welcome to the Restless Podcast. I'm your host, Elia Esparza. I'm a recording artist, songwriter, content creator, and just another 20-something trying to figure it all out. We'll be sharing the stories of creatives, entrepreneurs, and young successful people on how they got to where they are and the risks they took to get there. I'm recording this at the wonderful Beacon Hill Recording Studios. And if you're interested in keeping up with us day to day, you can follow us on our social media at Restless Podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends about us, and rate us. Let's get on with the show. Our first guest is a lovely Latina country singer who has been featured on The Voice, and her rendition of Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash landed her a seat on Team Blake Shelton. She studied at the prestigious Berklee College of Music in Boston, has lived in Los Angeles, and now currently living in Nashville, where she's recently released her EP, Timeless, which you can find on all streaming services and iTunes. Her raspy, textured, soulful voice is the perfect blend for a smooth Southern guitar on a summer day. Welcome to the show, Valerie Ponzio.
Wow, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for that awesome intro also.
Of course. Thank you for being here. As we were talking before, I really want, everyone that's listening to get to know you, because I think people here in El Paso might know you from The Voice, but we're going to get real deep into this.
Yes.
Let's just start off, where were you born? What's your background?
So I was born in El Paso, Texas, and grew up in Northeast El Paso, went to Desert Air Elementary School where my mom taught. And then I went to private school, Bethel, on the mountaintop in Northeast. And then I went to Andrews High School and basically did music all throughout. Being part of church, there was always a stage around that I could go sing and have an outlet and just any school talent show ever. I was always trying to perform. I was always just, as the older I get and the more stories I hear, evidently I just was always trying to perform, even if there was not a performing situation. I was just making performing situations, which you were probably similar to.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't realize it until, I guess I just made I concocted a stage anywhere I went. But yeah, I just did music, wrote songs when I started writing songs when I was about 13 or 14. And then was afforded the opportunity to go to Berklee for college. And my sister had she was at Boston University, so she had kind of opened up the world of Boston to me and that possibility. And so was able to do that. I studied guitar there. And I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of rambling about my.
Oh no, you're fine.
I don't know if that's
I just want to trace back really quick. Was your family musical, or did you just kind of pick that up on your own?
My family is very musical. My brother was an amazing musician. He taught me how to play guitar and how to write songs. He just kind of sat me down and taught me popular songs, and then kind of would just write with me. And then my sister's an amazing vocalist as well and songwriter. Super prolific, and
so it's all in the family.
Yeah, my mom's a beautiful vocalist, and then my dad, he's just really supportive. He's just all about it and has always been. He himself isn't very musical, but he was just not only supportive, but just whatever he could do to kind of just open and to this day. He just wants it. He just is has so much faith and support in music. Oh. So it's just I've been very lucky to have a support system. I know a lot of musicians don't have that, they don't have people who are follow your dreams, and I have to acknowledge the very big blessing I have in my life and my family.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to Berklee, how was that experience?
Berklee was really it was great, really hard. And if I were to be completely honest, I've had to kind of reconcile that I even went there, because kind of diving into I think where the inside tips of this podcast, where you're kind of going, I think that one thing that I do regret, but I was young and you don't always when you're out of high school, you don't know, even if you love music, you still don't know what should I do, how should I do this? For me, my sister was just oh, you should go to Berklee. and I'm like, I can't go to Berklee. Like, I could never do that. It's too hard. And like, she had this hilarious part of that. I have a very supportive family. She had a very funny thing that she said. And it's like, she looks back and she's like, that sounds so terrible. But I was like, no, it actually was the thing that made me feel like I could do it. Cause I was like, oh no, I can't go to Berklee. It's too hard. And she was like, dude, I know people who are worse than you that go to Berklee. And I was like, oh, okay. That's like good. That's
only
great.
Your family can tell you that you suck for you to be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, let me prove you wrong.
Well, and the thing is, she wasn't even meaning it like that. She was just like, I know you don't think you're at the level, but like, you're fine. Like, she was like, you're fine. You can do it.
Yeah.
And it really was that I was like, oh, okay, there's people that are worse. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then maybe I can try it. It was like all really positive, but it sounds so weird.
Yeah.
But honestly, if she hadn't have encouraged me, I would not have tried to go to Berklee. And I am really happy. I was a guitarist there.
Okay.
So I didn't study voice there.
Which is crazy because you have an incredible voice.
Thank you.
So I thought, I didn't like know what you had studied. I thought you had studied like vocals and songwriting probably, but
yeah, no, and you know, that I probably should have done more vocal songwriting classes while I was there. And here's the thing, I'm not an amazing guitarist at all. In fact, there's probably people that have known me as a guitar player, and people who don't know me, like if they were to hear me, they'd be like, wait, what? You know, you should be better. And I'm like self-proclaimed, oh, I know I should be better, but I did learn a lot. And I did graduate.
Oh yeah, because there's that like weird myth that like if you graduate Berklee, you never make it.
Exactly.
Am I getting that right?
Oh no, that's because John Mayer dropped out of Berklee.
Yeah,
super successful. Dixie Chicks,
oh,
or one of the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah,
super
Didn't
successful.
Charlie Puth.
I don't know if he dropped out though. I don't think he dropped out.
I don't think he finished.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you know what? He probably didn't because he's super successful.
Yeah, because he's a genius. It's fine.
And then wait, there's another one. I don't know, but it is true.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did. I was a guitarist there, and it was very challenging. And I do, yeah. But I realized also, I think it was a great experience. But I think if there's something I could tell people about, I think any music school, is that just never lose sight of what. Like, there's a reason you're going to sacrifice everything to, whether it's college or move to a city to pursue music. There's a reason that you're going to just do all these crazy things to sacrifice to pursue your dream in music. Make sure you're never losing sight of what and why you did that, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, I think, you know, being young and being, you know, confused and feeling kind of like my own personal weird pressure and struggles to be musically, you know, not perfect, but like musically the best, you know, like sometimes you're like, oh, I've got to be, you know, at this level and I got to, you know, crush my competition. You know, sometimes it's like, no, just what do you want? You know, I wrote songs when I was 13 and now I have that same heart, you know, like that never changed for me, but I feel like in the process, you know, I went to a jazz school. So I like, you know, I need to be better at jazz. And I love jazz. I think jazz is amazing, but I really did always love Americana and love writing songs and singing and being honest in even just simple songs. You know, so for me, I think along the road of pressures and a lot of it was my own made up, you know, expectations. I feel like I should have just kept my eyes on what I truly loved about music. And it was actually a lot more simple than the race that I was in. Yeah. You know?
Well, I think a huge thing is like when you're young, you're like 17, 18 and you go to college and you decide like, I'm going to do this. And
you're so positive and so sure.
Yeah. And you kind of forget everything you've known as who you are and your personality and what's in your heart. And then you start to get bombarded with all this new information and experience. And you just kind of lose like, what am I doing type of thing. And then, but I do think it's important because once you stray away from like what your true desire is, you realize like all the things that are not. You know? And so I feel like it's like a full circle type of thing where like you have to go to all the wrong places to get to the right one.
Right.
When it was in you the whole time.
Exactly.
It's so weird.
It was the same thing it's never going to change. And I see younger people too starting out and I want to, you know, everyone has to have their own journey and learn their own lessons. But I can see that it's like, no, that desire, that fire in you, love it, nurse it, cherish it because it's never going to change.
Yeah.
So you can go to Timbuktu or whatever. You can go to any corner of the world to think that you need to do all this stuff. But for some of us, there's a fundamental passion that's very pure and innocent and true. And it's always going to be the same.
Yeah. So do you think that you would have been better off not going to Berklee?
It's as the years pass, I really value my Berklee time more and more.
Okay. So you don't regret it?
I don't regret it at all. Music also music is such an evolving industry. Also, that in the 2000s when I was going to college, it was a different industry than it is now. I mean,
what's the biggest difference, do you think, right now?
I mean, there were still it was still a record label dominated, which it still is now, but like the independent artist was a very new thing. People being able to break on the internet was not really happening.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I'm really happy because I find the things that I learned there just come back in music. I did guitar and then I did contemporary writing and production, and so I have been able to just do a lot of writing and producing. Not that it's necessarily all been like a lot of it's just on my own. Not that it's all like great stuff, but I've known how to do that and just kind of incorporate a lot of that and feel I think what Berklee helped me feel good about doing was, and honestly, the reason I was a guitarist there is like, I wanted to be able to kind of just not have limitations in what I could do musically. Not that I've mastered, every facet and corner of music, not like that I'm like some genius or anything, but it did give me tools to kind of be able to explore genres and explore technique that I just didn't want. I wanted to take down any limitations so that I could just really enjoy music and go into it where I wanted to go. But at the same time, sometimes I do feel like there were some later after Berklee, I had to learn some very fundamental things.
Okay, like what?
Like songwriting.
Okay.
I didn't do a lot of songwriting. I mean, was I learning like inverted chords and like, jazz soloing? Yes. Was I writing simple songs of my heart and making it work so that people could understand it on a, human level? No. I was.
Which is surprising because I was going to ask you
that came so much later.
Music at Berklee, or like did you?
I composed,
which is cool
I wrote,
too. Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that to sound like I was a composer. Like I wasn't like writing these incredible movements or anything. But like I was in sessions with string players and horn players and transposing, writing charts and that's great. It was awesome. I'm so blessed I did that. But no, I wasn't. And that's the beauty of music. That's the beauty of having people who support you is that I did learn how to do that later. I did learn how to just do basic songwriting. And I don't mean to say songwriting is basic, but just, performing how to, then I actually went to MI after Berklee. I was a little bit
Musicians Institute in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles,
okay.
Yes.
Just so for anyone who doesn't know. Yeah.
I did not graduate from Musicians Institute though. So
I didn't, I've seen that school and I've always wondered what that was like. Okay, so really quick, after Berklee, you decide to move to LA to go to Musicians Institute.
I came back to El Paso for a little bit, met Mike, my
your lover.
My lover.
Your
my Latin lover.
He's like the whitest guy.
He is Latin though.
Is he really?
He's Mexican.
We both have boyfriends that look really white.
I know. But I feel like Mark does not look very, like we were talking the other day. He looks Mexican to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising.
I thought that was so funny. But yeah, anyways, that's where I went, Mike, when I came back in between Berklee. And then I was just a little bit in this funny place of like, wait, I'm graduated. What do I do now?
Yeah.
I need to go back to school. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'm so happy I went to MI and I only went there for 6 months. But what MI, in that 6 months at MI, I learned not, it's going to sound like I'm saying, oh, MI is the complex school, MI is the basic school. That's not what I mean at all. But at MI, they do more of like, hey, perform a song, like a rock song, but well. Don't just do the solo of the rock song, do the whole rock song and come dressed for your performance.
Like you're an actual artist.
Actual artist.
Interesting.
What?
So what did you study at MI?
Guitar.
Oh.
But yeah, it was just their approach was just like, get into the real world. Berklee was more like you can take these out classes that you won't be able to find anywhere else, speed soloing or what was my favorite one that I did that I passed that I was shocked because it was so challenging. It was jazz chord soloing.
Oh, wow.
So stuff like that.
Yeah.
And amazing.
Like very intricate, detailed.
Yes.
Like technical.
Yeah, exactly.
Technique, which is essential, but
and
yeah.
I mean, great. But at MI, they did have specialized classes, but they had classes that were just like, yeah, perform a song. And I remember it was this what was it called? It was like a performance class. This woman, she was just like very just hard and not mean, but she would get kind of mean, but it was good because I showed up to the class. You just had to perform a song. I was like, oh, easy. I just have to sing and play a song. Okay. So I come in flip-flops. I'm a little bit late, like a minute late or something. And I'm just kind of like, get on stage. I'm like, I have it prepared. And she was just like, you're supposed to pretend like the whole thing of this is that you're about to perform in real life. So would you wear that? Would you come on the stage like, would you be chewing? Like, I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, it's not like a 9 a.m. You're not supposed to treat it like a 9 a.m., college class where I'm just coming in my sweats. Like they really meant it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it was funny because I learned later how important those things actually are. And it's the simple things, dressing right.
Yeah.
Being ready, not rolling into class. Here's my assignment,
Yeah. I actually had a similar experience. I had a mentor in New York, and his name's J. Chris Griffin, and I was just taking like vocal performance with him, so we weren't filming or anything like that. It wasn't even a performance. And the one time, like, me, I'm always like put together.
Yeah.
Like I will never show up anywhere in sweats, even if my heart desires it. But the one time, I don't know why, I decided I wear like a big chunky sweater and leggings and went to my lesson. And he opened the door and he was like, don't ever come to my class dressed like that ever again. He was like, if you want to be a top liner, you better look like one. Mm-hmm. Because it was in a studio in New York, downtown. Like, I mean,
exactly.
Even just going to his lessons, that's how I met all these other producers and engineers and how I recorded my first songs and all of that. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, it's so sad to say, but it is the first impression of like how you look. Do you look like an artist? Do you look like a performer? Do you look like you know what you're doing? And so he was like, we'll reschedule. We're not doing this.
Wow. Yeah. He rescheduled it.
Yeah. And
like,
I
no.
was like, oh my goodness, I'm never wearing leggings and a chunky sweater again.
Right. And it's like, it's not to say like that you can't be comfortable. Like, people listening might think, oh, what if you just want to be, and like you can be.
Yeah, you can.
It is when you're in the hustle and you have to prove yourself every day with social media, every waking second, you know, like you have to respect that you're hustling.
Of course.
You know?
It's just part of the package, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if your artistry is like you always look chill and that's your vibe, and then roll with it, but it's not ours.
Right.
For instance, like
our reality. Exactly. Yeah.
Like I would never go dress like that to a real studio session or like a performance or an interview or things like that. So it is important, but
yeah, no, and not to focus too much on university stuff because I could do a whole other podcast about college.
Yeah,
that I won't do right now. And how I feel about college.
So do you feel you benefited from going to Musicians Institute?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
Like 100,000,000%.
Yeah, okay.
It got me my first music job actually. It got me a lot of jobs actually. And that's what they do there is they try to get you working in the actual
Oh, that's amazing.
In any vein,
Yeah.
like they set up auditions. I mean, I think they still do that. I haven't checked back in a while, but when I was there, they set up auditions for cruise ships. They set up, then that's what I started doing. Is cruise ships.
Okay, so you don't finish Musicians Institute. You go for 6 months.
Yeah. Then I kind of freaked out about music, and then I did I started trying to do real jobs, like I was like, well, what am I going to do now? I'm in LA. I can't
be a
keep going to school.
waitress. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a post-production company, thinking maybe I could work my way up in film,
Yeah.
like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I never did. I went to music school. So, but I was like, well, this is kind of a good industry. Let's, I was
Sure,
a little bit
I'm
lost.
in LA.
I'm in LA.
How old are
exactly.
you at this point?
I am 24, 25.
Okay.
But it's just so fun. It's such a journey because I was like, I love music. Like I went to music school. So back to my MI stuff, was able to still, that's what was kind of cool, as I wasn't even alumni. But I was still able to kind of tap into their resources
Okay.
for job stuff. And I got a cruise ship job.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing that, and that helped me a lot. Now that was I feel like the third part of my schooling was cruise ship work.
Okay.
Because that's the performing part. It's so important. I feel like I'm trying to preach at people right now. I'm not, I don't, what I learned is, as a musician, definitely learn, go take classes if you want to learn and get better, but don't not perform.
Oh, yeah.
You have to, and I didn't. That's the thing is throughout so much of my schooling, analyzing everything, that's what that's how school can make you, analyzing and this and let's whatever. But cruise ship work is where I started performing under stressful situations, grueling work, and that's what made me become a confident performer.
Okay. So in all this, how many years did you do the cruise ships for?
I didn't do it for very long, but what the cruise ships helped me do is then I was able to become a cover artist on land.
Oh, there you
so
go.
I just kind of learned that lingo. And then it was kind of hard to be away at sea.
On land.
On land.
On the land.
I need to stay on the land.
Away at sea.
I know. I sound like I'm a pirate from the 1600s or something.
Okay, so when you were in school, were you also working, or you were just only in
I
school?
wasn't. I was able to just be in school.
That's amazing.
I know. Really.
And then you did the cruise ship, but they pay you.
Yeah.
And they take care of that. And then also at this time, what are you feeling as far as being an original artist? Or are you just trying to figure out what to do next?
I honestly, I haven't. At that time, let me think. I mean, I was trying to be an original artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I was writing and, recording, and then doing cover gigs, but I think it's been such a journey unless you have, at that point, it's unless I was younger and I probably needed to be mentored more by people in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's that's what school can do, is sometimes you can learn so much musically, but then it's so different than the actual industry.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I was just kind of well, I went to music school, so I know music. I'm a cover artist. I'm gigging and been on cruise ships, but I think need someone to guide me, because it's the music industry is a completely different thing than actual music.
Yeah.
And so,
and I think that's a huge thing that people don't.
They don't know that.
No, they think if you go to music school or
even if you're talented, it's
you're talented,
it should just click,
you'll
right?
just make it, and it's really not that.
They are polar opposites.
So, briefly tell us how you liked LA or your experience there.
I loved LA.
Okay.
I'm going to start by saying this. It was so important for me to be in Nashville, and I probably should have been in Nashville a long time ago. But with that being said, I loved LA. It was very hard for me to move away from LA. But I'm just wow, I needed to be out of LA a long time ago.
Oh, that's how I
loved
felt
it
about New York.
Yeah. I can see that.
Love New York. But when I left, I was like, whoa.
What was I doing there? So, yeah.
Well, I just was I was not happy towards the tail end of it. But if it hadn't been for, which is going to be our next topic, The Voice,
Yeah.
I would have like never left. Or I don't know, like I would probably still be there.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, so you loved LA.
I loved Burbank, California. I should say I loved Burbank, which anyone who knows me knows I love Burbank. And then anyone who knows Burbank is probably like, why do you love Burbank so much?
Isn't it like a suburban area?
Yeah. I just, I wanted to move to LA ever since I was a little girl.
Same.
Yeah, it's I can see. Yeah, like it's just and it is. I think it's everything that your little childhood dreams make it out to be. Like we would go to Disneyland every year, so to me, LA was just like Disneyland.
Yeah,
and
let's just go there.
all your dreams come true.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, there's fireworks. Do cruise ship work, but then, like I said, I was a cover artist. I mean, I also worked a ton of terrible jobs in LA.
Oh, please list a few.
Oh God, horrifying. I mean, like this shifty credit card company that would really take money from people.
Oh,
so I worked for them. It was terrible.
That sounds terrible.
Would lower people's interest rates, and then I just did so many. I worked for a moving company. The moving company actually wasn't that bad. Actually, the moving company was pretty good. I sold moving company packages. But this was all before. And then I got the cruise ship job. And then the cruise ship job is what helped me figure out how to make money.
Kind of be like, okay, I can make money performing.
Right.
And
how to make money performing.
Want to die.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I was able to so when I went back to LA, I just performed in Orange County mostly. It was very hard to find work in LA that would pay. Also, live music is kind of hard in general. Nashville is like a different story, but in LA it was difficult, but I found a niche in Orange County. So that was really good for me. I was able to but at the same time, I think I was just also, when you were asking me about my original artist stuff at the time, that's what I was saying. I didn't have like a mentor, and I probably should have done more to seek that out. But, I was getting a little lost in cover world because I was making money at it. And,
of course,
but then I would do original shows in LA. So I would make money in Orange County and then book. And at one point I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play as many original shows as I can. But in LA, the thing is, you have to have a fan base.
Yeah.
That was very difficult when you're not like a big artist.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's just hard. I'm sure there's some LA bands that are doing great, but like for the rest of us, it was so hard. Like I just was visiting LA like last week, and it was so funny. A friend of ours, he lives out there, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do this show? It's just a easy laid back show." And I was just immediately like, "I'd love to." I was like, "I can't bring 20 people, but like,
but I can be there.
I can be there." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, because I know the whole thing. Like, you go to an open mic in LA, and they're like, "Can you bring 5 people? Thanks." Like,
so that's okay.
That's the culture of LA.
Interesting.
I mean, I'll just say it. Like, I know I'm not like it is. That is what it is, and I think it's very difficult. And after moving to Nashville, not that Nashville's perfect in its whole way but it's like I feel like I wasted a lot of time trying to do shows in LA that then feeling like crap if I didn't. I mean, I had at that point learned how to be like, I was so proud. Like as looking back at my younger self, if I could tell my younger self, like younger Valerie, like I'd just be like, honey, you're doing so good. Like, don't feel bad. You're bringing, you're terrorizing your friends and family to come to your shows, and they're coming.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And fans, like I did have some fans too, but I was exhausting myself, and it was pointless. And if there's LA bands that are doing great, I'm so happy for you. Like, go ahead, crush a scene, rub elbows with some of those shady booking people. But for me, I really wish I had said, I'm going to perform at your club and I'm not going to bring anyone. And that's how it's going to be.
Like, that's your job. Like of course, it's just like a weird, I totally feel you. I had the same thing happen to me in New York. I performed at the Bitter End, which is like a really famous place. But let me tell you, that ending was bitter because again, terrorizing all your friends to like, please come see my show and I think I got like 10 people, which is a lot for New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they have to buy 2 drinks.
Oh, yes.
And
2 drink minimum.
a cover.
Hello. Yes.
Like,
It's a full night.
I'm asking all my friends to basically spend like $50 to
minimum.
see me sing when like none of us are even like, we don't even have $50 for groceries.
Exactly.
Type of thing.
And then parking, or not in New York,
not
but
in New York,
LA.
but still like it's the whole production, and I feel like people don't even like know that whole, like all the behind the scenes of putting a small show together.
Yeah.
So anyways, I show up and I have my 10 people, and the owner's like, this is it.
Ugh.
And he's like, he cut my set in half.
Oh no.
And he was so rude to me. And I was just like, whoa.
Wow.
And it's crazy because like Lady Gaga performed there.
Right.
Like that was like one of her starting out spots.
Okay, Bitter End. Where is that?
It's on Bleecker.
Okay.
Downtown
there's
Manhattan.
Another place my sister would perform in New York a lot, and there is another Lady Gaga place.
Yeah, I mean, because she was all over the Lower East Side, but like that was like a big place. She even did like a tour, I think, and did a huge show outside of the Bitter End. But
there's so much that we don't know in context there, because they'll tell you that like, oh, this is where Lady Gaga got her start, and I heard a little bit about Gaga's story, but I don't know at what point of her career was she, because she was doing smaller clubs, but quote unquote small clubs, as in she was on tour with a label.
Yeah.
But that might have been before she even had that. That could have very well been. And also the scenes are different at certain times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Because I feel like there's places in LA that are like, oh, so-and-so got their start here. That was a different time.
It's a different time.
And now these shady booking owners have totally overrun these places, and it's not the same.
They're just trying to take advantage
place.
of artists who are trying to get any chance that they can.
Exactly.
Honestly.
And they kill the scene.
Yeah.
They killed, I mean, I've seen it happen. Like the second they start making it that cutthroat, you will kill the scene, because you will inevitably find people who are going to pay for it. And then they're not really necessarily good. But anyway, sorry, I'm kind of going off.
No. It's just, it's a weird, it's like a completely different world of like booking shows and doing that and trying to create a fan base like that than just like making music, releasing it worldwide type of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like you only have so much control as far as like booking, unless you have a great booking agent or you have a label.
Exactly.
Or money.
There are so many variables that there, and then there's a hustle that people can pull off that's awesome. But then sometimes there's like some outside reinforcements.
Oh, yeah.
That can even make a small club look like, oh, look at this small little club. No, there was actually like a whole label and management team behind executing this show,
and that's why 200 people showed
exactly,
up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then sometimes there's that hustler who like really
it's
legitimately
organic,
got to, but at the same, so for me at that time, I was doing something insane. Again, I needed a mentor. I was doing a show like every month.
Oh.
And terrorizing my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they were great, man. Like, they would come to my shows.
That's great. You're like, I can't believe they actually came.
Yeah. Like, they would come. But it was like, it was so much. Like, it was, here's the thing. Unless you're actually afforded, okay, I'm bringing, minimum 20 people once a month to it. But I'm like, what is this club giving back to me?
And then it's
nothing.
Like, how is your exposure? How are you exposing yourself if like it's the people that know you
If it's the same
already?
people who I terrorize. So I'm sorry. That is not smart.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I love and I don't mean this to be a bash LA. It could be different. I say it so that people don't feel pressure to prove themselves to a scene that might not be working. And then you don't want to be that negative person that's like, oh, F this place. I'm just going to go somewhere. And then you keep going to places and nothing's working. But I think I needed a little bit of that at one point in LA.
Yeah.
I needed to say, you know what? This isn't working. And I think there's a different scene that I need to, kind of hustle at.
Yeah.
And if that scene doesn't work, cool, whatever. But, I think I just didn't want to give up on,
Of course. Yeah. You never want to say like,
it's not working, so I'm going to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this whole stigma, and I'm sure you felt it in LA, of New York. It's like, if I leave New York, I failed.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
That's exactly
make
how
it.
I felt in LA.
And it's this weird, unnecessary pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And like me and my friends used to say like, we'd see people move out of New York and go back home, right?
Right.
And be like, oh my gosh, I will never do that. Like,
Right, right.
I'm never leaving the city.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. And secretly, we all are dying and like can't
Crying
afford
in the shower,
anything. And, you know, like we just, and then it's hilarious because like most of us ended up leaving.
Right.
And like going to different places, whether LA or Nashville or DC, just like most of my friends are not there anymore.
Right.
There's the few that are, but because they're from there or for different, whatever reason. And it's hilarious now because we look back and we're laughing because we're like, we were so broke. Mm-hmm. Like having a great time somehow still going out and with no money.
Yeah.
But it was miserable at the same time because we weren't doing what we wanted to do, you know, whether that be like acting, music, performing, comedy, whatever it was. Like we were having a great time living there, but not actually doing what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did that in LA for a long time. And then also it's so funny because again, I love Burbank. Actually, I'm going to release, I think I'm going to release this vlog. I tried to, while I was visiting last week, I was like, I'm going to do a quick little thing with my new awesome camera. And I'm like going to all these places in Burbank and LA that I love. I love the like east side of LA. I love LA. I love Burbank. And so part of that love that I had but also just doing the cover gigs, it just wasn't working. Like whatever I was trying to pursue as an original artist was just not happening, you know?
Yeah.
And there was it felt like kind of in LA, there's this invisible thing where you're so close, but you're so far away from anything actually in the industry.
Like you see it.
Yeah,
it's happening around you, but you're not booked for it.
Oh yeah, I literally lived in Burbank at one point. I literally lived right next to like the Warner Brothers studios and I'm sure this is so many people that live in where Ellen and all, you know. Yeah. And so it's just like you would feel it all around.
Where they filmed The Voice?
No. Oh, wait.
Universal Studios?
Oh, that is where they
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's the Warner Brothers lot.
Oh, I'm thinking of Universal.
Sometimes I think they actually would take us to this lot for certain things because it's so close to the Universal one.
Okay, so that leads me to the next thing. Did you move to Nashville before The Voice?
No, so this is what happened. I know I've been rambling on about LA stuff. But part of my thing, I'll just finish this real quick about LA that I couldn't leave is because I loved it. Well, but some things I knew were really frustrating and not working. Doing the cover gigs, not me getting close, doing these original shows that whatever. But then Mike was the one who was like, you know, it's not working, you know, like we need to figure something else out. Like, and I had a rent controlled apartment in Burbank.
Oh my gosh.
2-bedroom.
Goldmine.
Kind of hated it, but it was so big and like I could have guests, like it was great, but it was also another thing that was just keeping me.
You were like, oh, I'll never find another apartment.
I have cover gigs. But nothing that I actually ever really wanted in music was really, it's just, there were all these obstacles. So anyways, Mike says, let's go. We need to figure something else out. So we move out of Burbank, which is really a hard thing for me. I was totally terrified. And we did a short little tour, across America, you know, just as a duo. We went as Val and the Southern Line, which is a very funny name because it was so me and then we should have just been called like Val and Mike or something because Mike was like the Southern Line. It was just us, Val and the Southern Line. So Mike was like this Southern Line.
I love that so much. I thought it was a band.
Sometimes we had a band, but most of the time it was just Val. We're not going to say his name. No, I would say his name. I love Mike.
This is my Southern Line.
This is the Southern Line, whose name shall be not named. But so we did that, and it was so funny because as soon as I moved out of literally Burbank, California, The Voice reached out to me.
Of course,
and not that whatever, and then everything was perfectly fine, and I rode off into the sunset. No, but it was like one of the bigger opportunities.
Heck yeah!
And I just thought that's so funny. The second I move away from this place,
it brings you right back.
Literally right back to Burbank, California.
How that works?
Yeah.
Like the moment you let go, it was like, okay, here's the opportunity.
Yeah. And I literally went back for filming and stuff.
But on their dime.
On their dime in the same neighborhood. Like it was so funny. And so it was nice that happened because at that time, because it was kind of a confirmation of let go. And if
you
something's
let
not
go of
working,
that, yeah.
I loved Burbank. I love my rent control apartment, but I also just didn't want to feel like what you're talking about. Like, oh, I failed. I gave up. I said this city didn't work. And, it's me. I didn't want, I was very scared of all those feelings. But it was, sometimes you need to go,
Yeah.
And we had talked about already going to Nashville, but the natural progression was, The Voice. And then we had said, as soon as The Voice is over, we'll go to Nashville. And so that's what happened. And I'm really happy. I mean, I'm still having to hustle a lot in Nashville.
Heck yeah.
But, and again, not to say anything, I love LA so much, but I'm really happy we came to Nashville. We've been able to there's a really beautiful organic musical pulse there still. Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah. I think it will.
I hope.
I think
when
it
cities
really
grow
will.
and scenes grow, then things change. That's the thing is
that's true.
you can go to a place and be like, oh, so-and-so, Lady Gaga played here, but it's like, it was a different time.
Yeah, I mean, the music scene in New York is not what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's how LA is too.
And it's sad because there is a lot of music happening, but a lot of people have said music's dead there, which I don't believe, and I think it'll make a comeback. But it's really weird to even just see it happening and then be like, I was part of that in that time period, and now it's completely different. So okay, so you get on The Voice,
yes,
and you get on the show. They televise it. How does your life change? It
changed everything for me. And the thing I always say is it doesn't mean that everything's set, it's not that kind of show like other shows.
Yeah.
Maybe American Idol in the early 2000s,
Yeah. Or If You Win.
Also,
but even then, I don't know. It's so weird.
You mean American Idol if you win, or The Voice if you win?
Any show. If you win, it doesn't, it could mean, I mean, it does change, but I feel like it doesn't mean you've made it still for some reason.
I honestly feel like I've had the same amount of opportunity as the winners.
Same.
Kind of. No,
maybe not
as much.
Yeah.
But it's not that. And I say that just so people know, you have to work all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You have to hustle all the time if you want to, nothing is, and know that so that you don't walk into places like a jerk, you know, hey, I just did this, so and then things quickly turn because it actually wasn't as as set as you thought it was going to be.
Well, I didn't even make it that far. And
we made it to the same
we did.
level.
Yeah,
to the battles.
Yeah, but I milked it as long and still milking it.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I have friends who were top 3, top 4. And they would call me and be like, how are you doing all of this?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just doing it. And they were honestly impressed. And I was shocked that they weren't doing more.
Right.
Because of the status that they had made it to.
Right.
So
psychologically, I think because I don't know if you felt, I feel like if you can, and I had Mike and my family, but mostly Mike, kind of coaching me the whole way.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, he was amazing. But I feel like sometimes psychologically you can get wrapped up in whether, for, The Voice or even other things. I see artists in Nashville because I feel like I'm able, that's the beauty of Nashville, is you're kind of able to interact with people in the industry easier and just friends wise. It's just a more fluid environment that I'm used to.
Everyone's more open.
Yeah. In LA, it was really just difficult for me to get in any circles,
into the scene,
but into the scene. Yeah. I always felt like, what am I not doing? But then I moved to Nashville. It's everyone's just around and it's small. And so you learn a lot. But what I'm getting at is that, you even see artists, maybe not on reality shows, but more signed or whatever. And you get a good opportunity, but then you don't coast for very long because you have to keep
the momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the industry right now, is that very few can coast. I really don't. I think even people at the top have to keep constantly
constant content, constant connection, because that's the world we live in now with social media.
There's so much
every single day. If you don't post for a week, they're like, where have you been?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, you're not doing anything. It's a weird,
it's crazy.
It's a psychological thing.
But I think that's the thing also that I noticed with The Voice is that it's a great opportunity, but it
yeah.
can beat you down because you get wrapped up in these things of like, oh, I'm so close. I have this. And then if you don't get it, or if you get eliminated, then it's like, oh, I have to just, I think I saw a lot of people get kind of beat down with that. And I did too. Like it's hard, but like I think that if you can overcome, and whether it's on a reality show or other things that don't, completely pan out, whatever, it's the psychological part.
I mean, I moved out of New York, like moved out of my apartment when I got on the show.
Mm-hmm. From New York, you did?
Yeah. And I showed up to LA with like,
I didn't realize you moved out of New York.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to pay rent.
Yeah, because they're back and forth.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't know how long, it could be.
You don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
They don't tell you anything. You might be gone for a day. You might be gone for 10 months.
Yeah, no one knows.
Nuts.
Yeah. But no, and so I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'll come back and I'll find a new apartment, or maybe I'll move to LA, or who knows what.
Right.
And then like, it's crazy because I remember the day of my battle. My battle episode, you wake up at like 5 a.m. You get your hair and makeup done. There's people all over you taking pictures, interviews, like you're a superstar. Then the second you lose, they're like, great. Yeah. They're like, great. Where should we make your plane ticket to? Where do you want to go? And I was like crying.
Wait,
like,
did they ask you after you got, oh, okay. I think that
they asked you before.
I think they asked us before. Oh no, you know what? Huh. I didn't know that because Mike came to my sister lives in LA.
Yeah.
So he just came, and then we were gonna just drive back at our leisure.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have to tell them where that is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I actually ended up staying because my parents had driven to LA.
Okay.
And I ended up like going to San Diego and Mexico for like 2 weeks.
Interesting. Like, okay, where do you want your plane ticket to?
It's
You're like, I don't know.
It's literally the most. Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't have an apartment anywhere, and I guess
I don't know. Maybe can you call Adam or Blake and see if I can
I crash with them? And
I just kind of gave up my whole life for this.
Yeah, honestly. And then I was thinking, I was like, people have kids and like jobs that they quit, and I mean, I was working as a clown, so I was like, bye, like. So I had nothing. I mean, I didn't have anything to lose, but I had everything to lose at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going with my parents. And then once we got back to El Paso, I think I spent like 2 weeks thinking over and over again of how I could have done it differently.
Oh, yeah.
Like in a sickening way.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. Like, I mean, the moment I moved back, I was like, if I'm going to be in El Paso, like I'm going to do everything, anything I can. And so but I could not get it out of my head of like how I could have sung it differently.
Oh yeah.
I should have fought to get a different song. Should I have gone with someone else? Like it was just, it was, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then eventually I was like, well, there's nothing I could do.
There's nothing you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's, it's a television show. So they have
that's the moral of the story, folks. Yeah. It's a television. And you know what? It's so funny. Like I'm a grown freaking woman, right? And as soon as I was eliminated, I was just like, keep smiling, Val. Just keep smiling. And you walk off stage and it's like, wah. And I'm just like,
same.
I'm like, wait, I'm an adult. Like I shouldn't be crying like this.
No, I was like, oh my God, okay, great.
This is great.
They didn't even air my battles. So.
They didn't air mine either.
But yours is on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And yours isn't?
No. That your year they started to do that. Yeah. Crazy.
I remember that now. Yeah. No, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's probably better.
I was happy I got to see it. Yeah. But, whatever. Anyways, that's a whole other
that's a whole nother world.
Because there's things that are out of your control.
Yes.
But
completely.
But yeah, it is so devastating. Like, there's just no way around it.
So how did you come back from that? Like, kind of after, leaving with Mike and deciding you were going to go to Nashville, how did you...
I think moving to Nashville was, like, keeping me, like, positive and strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really hard but it was really good too. I think it was good. It was really great opportunity. And I think I was trying to be realistic about it. And so was Mike. Cause me and Mike do all this together. Like he does all the management, booking and whatever, anything that needs to be done, he does. So he's just there coaching me. And I think that yeah, and it's hard to see like the young kids too. Like they don't, their parents, they haven't really been in the music industry as
not
much
used to
as we have.
rejection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that it's just so different. And I'm not used like being on a reality. That's a whole different thing.
It's yeah.
But I still feel like I had even more of a mental like prep for it.
Yeah.
Whereas I just you see even the younger ones, and it's like, man, that's rough. But because you have to realize it's like this is just a good opportunity, but it's not an end all. And I think that we just kind of kept trying to reinforce that, like, use this to your advantage as much as you can, be realistic about it. And it really did change so much for me. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I feel like being in music this long, like, it was cool to have them turn their chairs. And sometimes I don't really think about that even. I think more just about the actual logistics of being an independent artist.
Oh yeah.
Like starting off as a little girl, I wanted to be the most beautiful singer, like I want to sing and and then I think the years of just being in music, you just start getting really focused.
Yeah.
And very like, okay, this, and then it's like you don't even think about the actual music. And so for me, like being on The Voice, like sometimes when it would just all get kind of crazy, I would just kind of be like, you know what? That's cool that, your idols were into your voice. I'm like, if you were to tell me that as a little girl, I would have been like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. But I just feel like getting wrapped up in it all, like you kind of are like, okay, cool. Okay, I have to do all this,
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, and even if there wasn't a chair turn, like it's like sometimes you just have to kind of love what you have inside. And I think that sometimes I just do that. Like sometimes I just say, you know what? This is your voice and that's enough, and just kind of appreciate that in a moment,
Yeah, because there's so many artists who I feel are successful who never even made it on those shows, who auditioned and didn't make it.
Who are incredible.
So it's wild, which is wild to think, because it's like Tori Kelly or like like Amber Riley, like all these people that I'm like, it's a great, like you said, it's a great opportunity, but it's not the end all be all. I remember specifically saying that to myself like the entire time. Okay, so segue into, you moved to Nashville. Now you're like in a whole brand new city. You have a whole new fan base as well because of
I feel
Voice,
like similar
right,
to
and
you, like
brings.
You're just kind of. I think also for me, because I had been a cover artist, I've been putting up my recording and doing so much DIY. Doing so much of the not glamorous things, but just, okay, you're booking shows, getting people to come out, like all these really things that aren't even necessarily musical. I think once The Voice happened and then like there was fans and there was people supporting, it was just like, you're so grateful because every little thing, every little, every person that appreciates you, like, it really means a lot.
There's
because
finally
you know how hard
people
it is.
Watching.
Yeah, you know how hard it to just for 20 people. I mean, still, but like you just know how hard it is to just do any little thing. And so when you have some people watching and you have people who are actually like you're just like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, oh my God,
yeah.
I don't even. What is this? What is this life?
So then you recorded and wrote your EP.
Yes. So we're in Nashville, and it's funny because every person on The Voice is in Nashville.
Literally. I know so many people in Nashville, and I've only been one time. So
they all go or have already been in Nashville, or they go to Nashville, or including myself. So you don't show up to Nashville and you're not just like, hi, I'm Valerie Ponzio. I was on season 12 of The Voice.
Everyone's
you're
like,
welcome.
So are we.
So was I.
Okay.
But it's good. I mean, like it's cool. Like it's been good.
Yeah.
I also want to say though, if there's anybody that listens that's maybe tried to be on The Voice or American Idol and you never got on, don't think that that's the only that
you're not good.
That you're not good.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It's like you could have. I have we have The Voice, but somebody else has a different opportunity that maybe would have been cool for me to. I would have loved that opportunity. Maybe.
Yeah. The 4.
The 4 exactly.
Okay, so really quick, I want to wrap this up.
Sorry,
soon.
I know.
No, you're
I
good.
Can ramble for so long.
What do you think are things that the misconceptions of your industry, which is the music industry, that people have, and like what's the reality of it?
Oh my God, there's so many misconceptions. I think for me, without sounding annoying, I think the biggest misconception is that, and the way it changed, numbers and don't mean talent. And or I shouldn't even say talent. Beyond talent. Numbers don't mean that there's not good music to be heard. I'd say that's the biggest misconception.
Okay. I like that.
Like, you know,
I mean, I don't like that, but
right,
yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
But like, there's so many artists out there that, listen to them if you feel like, if you've heard of that. Like, don't think that anyone who's at the top is better because they're at the top. And don't disregard someone that you come across on Spotify or a video that has, whatever, like
just because it has 10,000 as opposed to a million.
Yeah, 10 even, right?
Yeah, right. If we get there.
That there's just and I think it's cool because I see people who they just appreciate music so much. And I just love it. I think it's, when you pursue music, sometimes I lose sight of that beautiful, unadulterated passion. I have to kind of dial in and meditate and get back to that. But I just love seeing people who like we'll go out, me and Mike, and Mike is like that. He's so like moved by music and vocalists, and I'll just see him like just be moved.
Yeah.
And and it's just at a little place that's nothing, even at a karaoke night. Like I think that's so beautiful. And I think we need people who are moved. And honestly, I feel like so grateful to people who give me that chance, I'll just put not stupid, but just something out, and like people share with me that they appreciate that moves them. I think that's so awesome. And I think that it means a lot. I don't know if that's one of the misconceptions, but
like not to disregard artists or people who are still working their way up.
Yeah.
Because you never know, how it can move you.
Yeah.
How it can affect you, or it could inspire you to be like, hey, they're so good and they still haven't, quote unquote, made it.
Right.
Like maybe I still have a chance, even though I haven't made it. You know what I mean? Like you look at artists like, I don't know, underrated artists maybe,
right.
and like think, I mean, they're making it, but they're not like a Rihanna of the world status. So not to disregard just because they're not number one on the top Billboard that they're not a great artist or a great,
right. I guess, and I should say that there's so many artists too. Like we have to remember that too.
Yeah.
Like I have to tell myself that too. Like, and the way content is now, like there's just, it's such a wild world. There's listen to so many podcasts.
Yeah, same.
So it's like that's how music is. Like there's just I find a new Netflix show every second, and people there's a space for everything, and I have to remind myself that with music, and so it's good to just appreciate everyone that's putting something out because it's all going somewhere. I mean, I guess then we have to work out the money part of it. That's the after. Unfortunately for the artist, I know it's different than,
I think that's a
whole
huge
other thing.
Misconception though too, of like artists are just discovered overnight and then all of a sudden they're number one and all that. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars going into that one artist and a team of 100 people.
I think that's a better. Can I replace my misconception with that? That's what I want to say. I don't really know what I said my misconception was.
Fine.
I was like, appreciate art. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna do.
People are like, we do. Gosh.
Okay, we're gonna do some rapid fire questions. This is a section I like to call "Would You Rather." I'm really good at this. Okay, would you rather live in Nashville forever or travel the world forever?
Oh, travel the world.
Okay. Ooh. Would you rather sing only country songs or only pop songs?
I don't even know what that means.
Me neither.
Country songs. Because they can kind of sound like pop songs too.
Right. If you could twist it. Would you rather sing other people's hit songs, like if you're an artist, or write hit songs for others but not be the artist?
Write hit songs for others, because then at least I could be
Get that
creative
check.
and get that check. Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Duh.
Would you rather eat tacos forever or pizza?
Pizza.
I know you're a pizza
No,
girl.
wait. No, tacos. I've pizzaed out.
Really?
Yeah, I
you
can't
always
handle
post about pizza.
I know. I love pizza still, but now that I think about it, because tacos, you could have like chicken tacos, you could have steak tacos, like you could at least have pizza's like just
only pizza. Yeah. Okay, last one. Studio sessions or live shows?
Live shows.
Okay.
If there's people, that would be cool.
Yeah. Only if there's a crowd.
Yeah. Even if it's just one person. Even if it's just Mike.
Right. Okay, so tell us where we can find you and your music.
Okay, so I am on Spotify. My Timeless EP is on Spotify. And I'm going to be releasing a single called Orale.
Yay!
That Elia is part of.
I'm featured.
Yes.
I'm a background. Featured background.
She crushed the video. It was awesome.
When is that coming out?
That's coming out soon, hopefully in the next 2 months. So I'll have some dates and everything with that. And there's a music video.
Yeah, perfect. And where can we follow you?
Follow me on Instagram, Valerie Ponzio. Follow me Facebook, Valerie Ponzio. Twitter, Valerie Ponzio.
Everything Valerie Ponzio.
ValeriePonzio.com.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. This is so much fun.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe and rate us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Restless Podcast. Until the next episode, stay motivated, stay hungry, and stay restless.